Yes, so Nilesh, we are here today and I'm so glad to have this interview with you. Tell me, how has Christmas been so far with you?
Well, Christmas also happens to be my wedding anniversary. So yesterday was a family get together and it was good fun, a small crowd. And we just finished 34 years of togetherness.
Amazing. Amazing. 34 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I remember you just going off a sideline a bit. You brought these shoes, you showed them to me, and that was what, 30-year-old shoes back from the time of your wedding?
Yes, yes.
What was that all about?
So those are the pair of shoes that I bought during our honeymoon. And they still are with me and they are impeccable and intact. I wear them, but sparingly, and that's why they are in good shape. And the funny thing is, although times have passed by, but that particular trend of having that particular shoe still is as relevant today as it was 35 years back.
The word relevance means a lot here, and that is also when you say that the shoe lasted a long period of time,
Yeah.
it withstood so many memories, and you were able to keep it for that long, considering that the way things are today, the shoes don't even last you what, 3 years, and you kind of have to just throw them and buy a new pair.
Yeah, but like I said, I used them sparingly, so I could keep them pretty much in good shape. And I do take care of my stuff. So one of the things which I have as a mentality is that when I buy stuff, I don't buy it for mainly utility purposes, but I invest in them so that they can last me longer. And they do last me longer. I mean, I have close to about 30 pairs of shoes. So so what happens is, because I have grown this particular wardrobe over a period of time, things last also longer. you know
Tell me something about this. I came across this concept, and it was a gentleman called Rafael on YouTube, and he was talking about specifically bespoke wear and this whole idea of building a wardrobe, and he tried to contrast with this term called cost per wear. He tell me more about that. What does it mean to you?
yeah, so uh, when when I say buy something, or like I said, invest in something, what happens is that if something costs me a little bit extra than what it would otherwise from a normal shopping experience perspective, I always consider number one, the quality of the product that I'm buying. And when I see the quality and the construction, I also try to judge if it's going to be something that will last me longer. Okay. So I would typically buy something which is a bit more expensive. I mean, generally, it is not that everything expensive is good, but there are some things which are expensive and are good quality, and those would last you longer. And those does happen with a few brands. It's not necessary that all expensive brands are good brands, but there are few brands who leave a legacy of being good quality all the time. So I try to invest in them mostly.
Thank you for that. And what are your top three picks?
Um, okay,
I
now
mean, Kings being one of the picks as
Kings, of course, because I know what kind of quality we deliver. Amongst the legacy brands, I think one of the brands that comes to my mind on top of my head is Cartier. Okay, Cartier does come up with simple designs of jewelry or watches. I'm into watches, so Cartier comes up with simple designs, and their quality is impeccable. You cannot I think today, if you go and check the watch market, Cartier ranks amongst, I think, the top two in the world, even
impressive.
though Rolex and AP and Richard Mille and all these brands would be there, but Cartier still is on number two or number one, if I'm not mistaken. you know
Which model specifically when it comes to cardio?
My favorite is the tank, and I'm wearing a tank today, by the way.
That's a very nice one with a black strap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing a tank right now. But one of my favorite or another favorite of mine is the Cartier Drive,
Mm.
um, which is again a very simple watch, but very classy, very, I would say, sophisticated in its own ways. And I think somehow Cartier manages to, sort of challenge the norms of, watch cases and shapes and things like that.
Yeah.
And they still come up with something which is very minimalistic and very sophisticated as far as looks are concerned. And definitely, if you're wearing a Cartier, it will turn heads.
For sure. I think one of the Cartier nemesis brand that you could say would be the JLC. I've seen
Yeah,
that very rarely though. I see Cartier being more,
yeah, yeah.
commonly worn.
Commonly worn, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have a very great appreciation for people who wear Cartier because it again is an acquired taste.
Of course.
And then again, it speaks so truly to who you are as a person as well, Nilesh. Because I
Correct.
mean, we both understand that concept, and that is that unspoken sophistication, that unspoken elegance. It
Correct.
comes through with what you wear, but it's not. It doesn't come off as brash. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not
It's
really.
not loud.
Yeah,
It's not loud,
yeah.
and it's not in your face.
And I don't think it's like you're asking for the conversation. You're not telling people that you're wearing what you wear, but it's more like you're inviting people to come over and have a coffee with me, and then this is my what I'm wearing. This is what I look like. So that's a very interesting take on it. You've been to PT Omo, by the way, recently, right?
I I was, yeah, earlier this year actually in
What
Jan.
What is PT Omo all about?
Well, PT Umo, although it's a exhibition for sartorial, I would say, interesting kind of people. However, what happens is it also attracts some of the most sartorially inclined people and influencers who happen to come there and actually sort of meet the rest of their fans, I would say. So I end up meeting at least 10 different influencers over there who actually, in a way, are peacocking their style, you know,
Yeah.
which is a great thing because you do get inspiration from such people how to dress up effortlessly, you know, and it really doesn't matter what you wear. That's what I figured. It's your confidence in how you carry it around, is all the difference that it makes, because that I have seen people wearing green, jackets with yellow trousers and, pocket squares of red color at the same time. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was not an eyesore. It was quite pleasing, and
On the contrary.
on the contrary, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not about what you wear; it is about how you wear it. It's most important.
So interesting. The younger generation right now, when they're watching this, they might be wondering to them, thinking about what is this whole charade of sophistication and effortless sophistication? Because the word sophistication, when somebody thinks about it, especially from the younger generation, they think about kind of like a sockless look with loafers, and they just think about a wedding with a tuxedo, shining bling, and that's all they associate sophistication to. It's like a bygone era. Do you think it's still a bygone era? Do you think it's still relevant today? What is your take on that?
See, to each his own. I wouldn't try to impose things that I like to other people because that might not be something that people would appreciate. But then the thing is, if there is a commonality between how people perceive a particular person, so if there is someone, for example, who's quite I would say contrastily dressed with different items and different colors, okay, and still looks very sophisticated. That's the kind of person I would want to be, because in the eyes of, I would say, most of the people around, if that person is appealing, that means he's got something right. He's got the combination right, he's got the look right, he's got the whole package right with the confidence that he carries around with him you know so there is something that we got to learn from other people as well, as to, sometimes you try to match too much, sometimes we try to get our, I would say, checks and squares and herringbones and all together. But that might not be necessary, because I have seen people wearing contrasting outfits but still look very sophisticated and very, very classy.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's the confidence in what you wear rather than what you wear.
There is this kind of a shift, a mindset shift, and that is when you have a gentleman walking into a room feeling like they're, well, it's a corporate environment, let's say, and they walk into a room feeling like they're wearing a costume, versus you have another gentleman who walks into the room feeling like he owns what he's wearing, and it's basically like as if he woke up in those clothes.
Yeah.
What is the difference in the perception of those two gentlemen?
Mainly the person who woke up in that suit is wearing a bespoke suit typically, because that suit was cut out just for him. Whereas somebody who's picked up something from the rack in a store is wearing something which is very generic, and it was not totally meant for him. It just happened to fit his size. And generally what happens is, when something is off the rack, it could be a tad bit bigger than you, because it will eventually you know fit you in the sense that you could get inside that outfit. That doesn't mean that it's the best fit for you you know and what happens is, people are okay with it, because that I would say majority of the people are indifferent towards clothing. But there are a handful of people who appreciate a good fit, and I think good fit is all that is about uh, building confidence.
I think it's also so nice that we have a community around the whole bespoke process. And I think bespoke doesn't speak
True.
until somebody can identify it,
True.
right?
True.
So I've seen that when I was able to recommend a friend, a specific bespoke tailor to a friend of mine, and he had a lot of questions in his mind, and he thought, you know what, let me just go with the recommendation and see, because he had Beauty World coming up, a perfume exhibition in Trade Center, and he's the owner of the place. So he thought, maybe why not I wear this bespoke suit and see what it's all about. What's the whole take on it? Why can't I just buy something from a cheaper store and just wear it, put it on, since I can get like any color I want at the quick. I don't have to go back and forth to the tailor and do nitpick things. So finally, when he went to the shop and he got his tailoring done and he got the suits made and everything, he went to the place, the exhibition, and he had three people, mostly from the, well, you can say the people who really appreciate bespoke tailoring. They were able to identify specific things in his fit, and they were able to tell him, nice suit, I like it. There was nothing specific that they pointed out, but it was just an eye for it, and it just immediately told him, I like your suit. And I think that really created this kind of connection with him and that kind of mindset.
True.
You think that's really important? Do we think
Well,
we're losing that now in our today's
we are losing that to fast fashion, actually.
mm,
Because, like you just said, a person who's getting a bespoke suit done is having more than one trial to get that fitting right. Okay. But that's not the case with everyone, to be honest, because people want clothing very quickly or shoes very quickly, and they end up compromising on style. Yeah. But think about it. I would say my father or my grandfather, okay, would actually wait for their clothing to be ready. They would go for multiple trials. Okay, they would go for bespoke shoes, for example, according to their choice of the wardrobe. All right. And they ended up having very high quality wardrobes. Okay. Although they were expensive back then, also I'm talking about 50s and 60s and things like that. They were expensive then also, as they are expensive today also. Okay. But the thing is, those products last you. My father had his wedding suit, you know uh, with him for almost 60 years.
wow.
Yeah, because he said, I got this particular fabric from Dermoil in Switzerland, and he had imported that fabric and gave it to his tailor to get that thing stitched. All right. And it lasted him for so long. Now, what do you say about that effort and the price that he paid? It was worth more than the ROI that he put in, isn't it?
Of course, and
You
that
know?
where the cost over where speaks for itself.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So buy good quality stuff. Don't compromise. The moment you compromise on your wardrobe, actually you're compromising on your life,
Mm,
because, at least one third of your life that is spent on daily basis in the wardrobe that you buy. Okay.
yeah.
Now, how would you spend that money? You know? So I tell people, make sure of your clothing, your shoes, and your mattress. Okay, because 1/3 of your life will be spent in those parts of your life. Okay, so be wise. Spend some money on getting a good mattress, even if it costs you 5-6 thousand bucks. Get that, because a good night's sleep is very essential for your well-being.
Far more essential. Instead of like, your quality of life is improved like drastically.
Of course.
One thing you mentioned is building a good quality wardrobe,
Yeah.
right? Um, Today we have this culture of time and effort. I mean, we have this thing of fast fashion,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are going for it because they need the convenience. They value that more than the quality of the wardrobe.
True.
There is also an intention, and there's also a sense of occasion that's associated to picking out something for your wardrobe.
Yeah.
When you have a wardrobe that's kind of mismatched, I tend to look at a mismatched wardrobe and I think I'm so stressed now because I have to find a way to like pick and choose an outfit. And then most of the times it's like I have to go for something that's new just because it's the older stuff I've worn it. And I don't see it as something that can be intermatched between each other. I just see it as one set and that's it. I wore it 5 times, I'm done. It has to go out. But then when I have a wardrobe that's higher in quality, how does that differ in that sense? How do you basically build a wardrobe?
See, a simplest way to build a wardrobe is to select classic styles. When you select classic styles, you're no longer bound to time and fashion. Okay, because fashion will come and go. All right, but classics will still be eternal. They will always remain. All right. So, and building a wardrobe is something that you do on regular basis. You can't say that this is my 2024 wardrobe or 2023 to 24 wardrobe. Okay, I would say my wardrobe was built over years. Okay, and I would still have pieces of clothing which I would have got done maybe about 10-15 years back. All right, they would still be with me. All right, and I can proudly say that I am a proud owner of these, of outfits, because they have lasted me so long.
Yeah.
So choose classic, and you will never go wrong.
Have you ever secretly judged somebody's socks?
To be honest, majority of the time.
Okay.
Okay. So, I think one thing that separates men from the boys is that men would select socks which are very subtle, very sophisticated, and don't contrast with their outfits. So nowadays there's a trend of things like happy socks and some funky socks and something like that. Okay, those are for kids, uh, and you can yeah, keep it to the kids.
Understood. Understood. Well, I'm secretly being judged at this time for my
No,
socks.
you're pretty okay. You're pretty okay.
Ooh, phew. Well, any of your clients have come with outlandish requests, especially now that it's the season.
Not really. I haven't had like absolutely crazy stuff or requests, but I would say a simple one was a person wanted a camouflage sneaker. So we were, and he said I wanted blue color based. So we were able to sort of help him get that. And I think recently we've had one customer who said, you know what, I want to wear a shoe on a tuxedo, and it had a toe cap in the front,
Mm.
and he said the toe cap should be patent leather, and by default there was the option of suede on the vamp. But he said, you know what, I don't want suede, I want it to look more formal.
Mm.
So can you replace the suede with velvet?
Okay.
Okay, and we had to convince our factory to actually produce that particular shoe in velvet. Okay, so they had to procure a black velvet from somewhere just to make that particular shoe.
But that must have turned out quite nice, isn't it?
It was superb. It was
Yeah,
elegant.
very elegant.
Yeah,
And you don't have
and
to polish it physically because it's patent,
yeah,
the
you
toe
don't
cap.
have to polish. Yeah,
Uh,
correct. But you have to be careful of the velvet. Yeah,
okay.
because
This.
velvet is not a very popular shoe material.
Mhm.
And velvet could also attract a lot of, I would say, dust.
Mm.
And it would end up accumulating a lot of dust. So we had informed the customer that he would have to maintain it, pretty carefully.
what you know so much about men's fashion. All this time you built a wardrobe and everything. Where did it all start?
Okay, so it all started by watching my father get ready. Of course, getting ready on daily basis when he's going to office or he was going to meetings. But then you also observe that when he's going for a party, uh, he dresses up pretty differently, you know, and his formal suit would come out, his, swanky shoes would come out at that time. All right. And as kids, you're just curious and you don't know what's going on, you know. But as kids, you're just absorbing all that like a sponge. Okay. And some of it rubs on to you because as you grow up, your choices become very similar to what you have seen your parents, grandparents wear, you know, and that those become your choices. All right. So those few things that you observe over time become a part of your being, you know, and that's how I would say the journey starts. All right. And like my father was very particular about color coordination, you know. So if he was to wear something brown, if he wore a brown suit, for example, he would wear a white shirt or a cream color shirt. Okay. He would not wear a pink or a lavender shirt, for example. Not that he didn't have any. But so he would pretty much be quite color coordinated. He would wear brown shoes. He would wear a brown belt for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. And no light socks. You don't wear light socks when you're going for a party.
I see.
Okay. No, you only wear dark socks.
I see. That's an interesting
Yeah,
little take.
because I mean, it's a question that I asked him. Why do you, wear darker socks? Because there are other options available. He's saying you don't want to attract attention through your socks. You want to attract attention through other means.
Mm.
Okay, and that made sense.
That
You know,
made sense.
that made sense. So yeah, so any light color socks went out of the window.
I feel sorry for all the school kids who wore white socks, just
School kids are okay because it's mandatory for them. But
yeah.
yeah, not like I said, there's something separate men from the boys.
You have a very close connection to socks, I can tell that. It all started from the socks, even though your father didn't want you to see it from there.
Yeah, yeah, maybe not, but somewhere it rubs down, as like I said.
It's a sense of occasion, and that's what I think you realized as you grew up as
Yeah,
well. And
yeah.
keeping that sense of occasion, not just it didn't just stay with your clothes. I think it stayed with you as a person and how you were treating. One crazy thing is, my supervisor in school used to tell us that please, when you come for your board exams, I know that you all are stressed and you need to keep your morale high. So you can wear whatever you want and come, but I would rather you wear the uniform in school because it's a smart outfit. And what happens is when you wear something smart, you think smart as well. And I didn't believe that actually, but I did happen to do that. And, I did the exam and I realized that this whole phenomenon actually exists. It's called enclothed cognition. What do you have to say about that? Does it actually work?
It works, definitely works for sure. Because I would say, okay, let me try to put it the other way. Instead of you dressing up for an occasion, okay, you I would say deliberately wear clothes which are not appropriate for the occasion and see how that particular, experiment of yours brings your morale down and you want to get out of that location as quickly as possible, you know. And it does happen and you would want to, not be in that particular place,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So yeah, clothes do make a difference on how you think
Hmm.
and how you present yourself. All right. If you are a misfit in a particular location, okay, you would want to get out of there.
True. I see some people deliberately trying to dress a different way and against the norm just to stand out. And I feel sometimes it works in their favor because they're trying to have that personality as well. But if they don't and they just feel like it, sometimes they can be a mismatch in that sense. So it can make people feel so anxious and nervous. And this fitting in sometimes actually is so important. We live in a world of standing out all the time. Instagram and social media and all of that. And people think, why should I wear a black tux or a navy suit or something like that? Wear something so monochrome. Why can't I wear something that's very flashy? I want to look like the part in the party. But I think that's where we can distinguish between an elegant gentleman and then a gentleman who is.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, you can have a situation where you don't want to, what do you call, um, adhere to the norms. Okay, so a charcoal gray suit, a navy blue suit are things that people wear, but they become just too common. So instead of that, if you were to wear, say a brown color suit, okay, and if you were to, have, say for example, a bottle green suit, okay, which is pretty dark in color, that also does the job pretty much, but that will also make you stand out amongst the sea of blue, you know.
Interesting. Interesting. How has AI influenced men's fashion?
It's a good question and a funny question, because I've tried to use AI for myself, and I would say just to experiment as to how AI would respond to, the request that I would put forth. But what I realize is AI is not as intelligent as you are. It doesn't
Hmm.
have your information, and it doesn't have the information that you have accumulated over years of experience, correct? So your judgment about clothing and about style is something that AI cannot fathom, to be honest. Okay, so it will give you something which is very, very basic and very, very immature. Okay, and I would say AI, or rather, it is your job to train your AI before asking it a very relevant question, on style, or on anything to do with sartorial tips and things like that. All right,
Mm.
because by default AI is not as smart as you are.
Any three influencers that you would like people to follow, especially the younger generation, to help educate themselves on men's sartorial wear?
um yes, so there is Rowan Rowe, whom I associate with quite frequently. He's a good stylist. There is another gentleman by the name of Christopher Corey. Okay, he's a New York based businessman who happened to be an influencer as well. So he's got impeccable style. And there is another gentleman whom I happened to meet in the Pitiumo earlier this year. His Instagram handle is Guibo, which is GUI_Bo. His name is a bit complicated, so I myself cannot pronounce it.
I'll have
But
to.
he is one guy who is impeccable in his dressing, and he would always stand out, even though his dressing would be very simple. But his style is something that will stand out.
Wow. That's an amazing take as well. I like that as well. And for me, Ask OK was one of the gentlemen I met recently.
Yes, yes. I like his style as well, but he is a bit different, you know. Although I wouldn't say his style is very complicated, but his style is different. And I think not everyone can imbibe his particular style, or because I think his style is very physical, and you need to have a particular physical attribute to actually look good in what he wears.
He's a quite tall gentleman. He's got a very different physique also. He's
Yeah,
very athletic.
he's very athletic,
Yeah.
correct. So his wardrobe, I would say, according to me, is very body designed outfit.
Hmm.
You know, so yeah,
Yeah.
people have to look a particular way to actually, I would say, look good in what he would typically wear.
That makes sense. I understand that, of course. And, children tend to dress differently compared to adults.
Yeah,
There's a different kind of way they see clothes altogether.
yeah.
Sometimes there's a splash of color here, maybe a different shoe there.
You know why? You know why that happens?
Why is it that way?
That's because they are fearless.
Okay.
Yeah, they are not afraid of where what other people are doing or judging them. You
Hmm.
know, I think adults are not the case. They'll say, "No, this doesn't go with this, and that doesn't go with that. Yeah, this doesn't look good. That doesn't look good." All right, kids don't have that kind of insecurity, to be honest. So I think there's a lot that people can learn from kids. Okay, it's good in a way to become go back and become a kid at times,
Hmm.
but I would say keep it in within boundaries so that
Yeah.
you're not going overboard with lots of things. And I say especially accessorizing excessively is something which people try to do. Okay, but I think that kills the motive of actually standing out with your style, because you're just accessorizing yourself.
Makes you look a bit dandy compared to, and then looks intentional. Like you want to remove the intentionality from the clothing to make it look like it's
Effortless.
effortless. Yeah, that makes sense as well. Few more, and I think we're almost done. It's about 10:45, so we'll close this one. What's the most rewarding thing about your job?
The rewarding
Any
is
specific client, changes,
nothing comes to my mind, but I would say quite a few people actually come with the intention of transforming themselves and transforming their wardrobe. All right, and you see them eventually changing their style slowly. Okay, and so that's pretty rewarding to have somebody actually change their wardrobe in about 3 or 4 years, and move from just being someone who just, I would say, buys things off the rack, to a person who actually gets everything customized for himself. All right. So that's been one of the most rewarding things. I can't really think of any particular name, but there are quite a few people who take that effort, you know, to go that extra mile, to understand that this makes a big difference in how the world will perceive them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, of course. One of the style icons I follow is Hugo Jacoman, and we share that interest.
Yeah.
He's written books on sartorial, man.
Oh, many books. He's written at least 4 books, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
He's written a book on shoes as well.
I see.
Yeah.
Any specific about shoes that stands out to you?
Um, Not really. Again, this goes with the confidence with which you wear the shoes. Okay. You could have, like purple color shoes. All right. I've seen people wearing a bottle green suit with a purple color shoe.
Mhm.
Okay. And that did not look outlandish at all. Okay, I think I have the picture of the gentleman on my phone.
I would love to put that up. No problem.
Yeah, I'll take it out and give it to you. All right, and it doesn't look out of place. Maybe because, to be honest, I saw this gentleman in Pitiumo earlier this year, and like I said, it did not look out of place because maybe there were other people also dressed similarly in that particular location. So at that, I would say, point, it did not look totally out of place.
Yeah,
You know.
that also makes sense as well.
Yeah.
If you were to design a suit for a dentist, what kind of elements would you add to it?
Oh my
Very
God,
customized.
that's a crazy one. I don't know, maybe extra pockets for chewing gums, and some floss coming out from somewhere, for easy access.
I mean, we used to have those pocket watch chains coming out of those buttonholes, and I think that could possibly be a little floss hanging out over there just for a quick use.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. Those are the quirky things, I would say.
What kind of color would that suit be?
Definitely white, because I can't associate dentist with anything else, to be honest, you know. So white suit with crazy kind of, accessories, and pockets for easy access of, chewing gum for kids, and floss for, again, for just keeping your dental hygiene intact.
And would it mean a lot to you to see a dentist well dressed in a different occasion, or does the dressing sense kind of detach from what do they actually do? What is
No, not at all. You're not always working, right? You're not always in the clinic. You're not always, cleaning people's teeth. What about your own style when you're outside your clinic? All right. Inside your clinic, it's your job to be, in a uniform. All right. But you're not judged there. You're judged when you're outside the clinic. Okay. And you are in your own skin. Now, how would you, sort of be seen in your own skin? It's all about that. And you take a call as to how a dentist should be, perceived.
Mhm.
All right. And I would say, if a dentist is nicely dressed, what happens is I would judge him for the kind of quality of work that he would deliver as well.
Oh, okay.
I would judge him for that
So
because
your quality of dressing actually does matter when it comes to perception of.
totally, totally, yeah, yeah. Because if he's dressed up neatly, most probably his work will also be neat. Okay, I say to people, how you do one thing, you do everything in life. Okay, so if you're lazy in one aspect of your deliverable, you are most probably cutting corners in other parts of your life also, as far as delivery is concerned.
Last question to conclude this, and
Sure.
that is the most important, most interesting question at all.
Tell me.
Which fictional character's wardrobe would you actually raid?
Um, that's a tricky one. There would be lots of characters that Gary Cooper has played in his movies. But one person that comes to my mind now, right now, is the character that Ryan Gosling had played in Crazy Stupid Love. You know, he was impeccably dressed and presented in the movie, and I think a lot of people can learn from that particular styling of presentation. And
Yeah,
so we had Steve Carell in the movie.
very interesting.
Steve Carell in the movie, who learns from this particular character. If I'm not mistaken, his name was Jacob.
Yes, this is the scene. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So yeah, people can learn from that movie a lot.
Yes, and I see Ryan Gosling, wearing a nice lined, pinstripe jacket without a tie and a shirt, and he's just looking so effortless
Correct.
in that.
Correct. I think everybody should watch that movie if they are interested in transforming their lives.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Nilesh. That
Thank
was
you
a
Alex,
very,
for having
very
me.
nice.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and I hope the audience can take as much away from this podcast as possible.
Thank you so much.